Hi, loves, and welcome back. Today, I'd like to talk about archetypes, identity, and recognition. Archetypes show up when people are searching for language to understand themselves. They offer shape, they offer context, they offer a way to make sense of lived experience. That's why they're everywhere: the healer, the rebel, the sovereign, the warrior, the alchemist, the queen, and so on. Archetypes organize meaning quickly. And when identity feels unclear, that organization can feel stabilizing. This episode came to me while reflecting on the alchemist as an archetype appearing in a year in review for me. What stood out to me was the feeling of being accurately reflected. And that's what I'd like to talk about. Seeing how rare that archetype was gave me context for something I've carried my entire life. It was recognition. And this wasn't the first lens I've used to meet myself deeper. I've moved through many: Libra Sun, Pisces Moon, Virgo Rising, Soul Therapist, and so many more. I've lived inside diagnostic language as well: BPD, depression, OCD, anxiety. I've been reflected through archetypes like healer, astrologist, oracle, seer, guide. I've also carried identities like imposter. Each one served a purpose. Each offered language at a moment when language helped me understand what I was experiencing. The alchemist joined that lineage. What it offered was recognition, a clean reflection of qualities that quietly go unnoticed and rarely receive outside recognition. And recognition settles the body. It brings relief. It restores self-trust. It confirms lived experience. For me, that recognition helped me honor parts of myself I had still been questioning, parts I had minimized, parts that I had not fully allowed myself to trust. Seeing those qualities reflected clearly gave me permission to stand in them more fully. Recognition can do that. It helps people reclaim what they've learned to doubt about themselves. So, as always, I'm going to share the flip side of this. Recognition serves until it becomes something to cling to. When reflection turns into definition, movement slows. When language becomes location, the self contracts and leaves little room for expansion. What begins as orientation can quietly become containment. And that's where many people get stuck. And this doesn't happen because people are confused or choosing consciously to be attached to labels. It happens because authentic recognition is rare. So, when someone finally feels accurately seen, language can start to feel like relief, like evidence, like safety. And in systems that don't know how to support wholeness, that relief often gets named instead of protected. This is often where words like genius enter the picture. And I don't personally perceive genius as something superior. I see it as uninterrupted signal. Some experts believe that all humans are born geniuses. Most humans are born with extraordinary capacity. But what breaks isn't the capacity, it's the conditions. We're trained very early to trade sovereignty for safety, service for approval, shape-shifting for belonging. And when someone doesn't fully fracture or mask their core selves under that pressure, we rarely examine the true systemic dynamics. Instead, we label the person: genius, special, gifted. Language becomes a containment strategy, a way to mythologize or skip wholeness. Instead of asking why remaining intact and being able to access and express our core truth is so difficult. So to me, genius is not necessarily about being exceptional. It's more about refusing corruption, internal or systemic, when the cost is self-abandonment. Sovereignty isn't rare because humans lack depth. It's rare because wholeness is inconvenient and much harder to maintain, especially inside of systems built on obedience to external laws and rules. I'm personally no longer interested in being elevated. I'm dedicated to not losing myself ever again. There's an important difference between identification and recognition. Identification means fitting into a category that keeps you circling yourself. Recognition restores self-contact. Identification stabilizes quickly, but recognition deepens over time. Identification settles on language. Recognition keeps listening. One organizes a fixed identity, a fixed reality. The other strengthens self-trust and chosen expansion. I recognized qualities reflected by the alchemist, and then I continued living. I didn't attach to the label or pin it onto my forehead as a new my identity. I acknowledged some greatness in myself that rarely gets recognition, and I went on about my day. My point is, when real recognition is rare, it feels precious. Many people have never been mirrored accurately. They haven't learned how to see themselves clearly because reflection was distorted or absent. So when something finally reflects them clearly, they hold it close. And that response is human. The challenge isn't recognition itself. The challenge is learning how to let recognition orient without replacing lived integration of your sovereign self. Archetypes function as mirrors. They offer language, perspective. They help illuminate patterns. And they are most useful when they remain lenses rather than homes. The mirror helps you see. The work continues once you step away. Seeing yourself clearly unfolds gradually. It grows through presence, through time, through honest reflection. It doesn't rush toward definition. The self remains alive, responsive, capable of change, and able to discern when to be rigid and when to flow. When language stays flexible, clarity stays accessible. If you've ever felt recognized by an archetype, a diagnosis, or a story, that recognition served something real. The work is in allowing that recognition to return you to yourself, to strengthen your own senses, to support movement rather than replace it. If something in you has been waiting for permission to stop translating yourself, if you felt the cost of false harmony, and you're ready to trust your own signal again, you're in the right place.